You talk bad about my team, you must be a clown. This is Keek on the mic, so you know you better bear down. Bear down. Bear down.
Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Like always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. So exciting topic right here on Keek on the Mic today, as the report out of Chicago is this: Darnell Mooney and Justin Fields are working nonstop to take the Bears to the next level. And obviously, when you look at Darnell Mooney and Justin Fields last season, they obviously developed an excellent connection, and they know that their connection, and as they continue to grow as players, will be vital to the success of this Chicago Bears football team in 2022. And obviously, the Bears are relying, we talked about this many times here on Keek on the Mic, but obviously, the Chicago Bears are relying on Justin Fields to take that giant leap in year two as the Chicago Bears starting quarterback. But obviously, Justin Fields can't make that leap without playmakers like Darnell Mooney. So it's also going to be really important for Darnell Mooney, especially since he's now wide receiver number one, to take that giant leap in order to help Justin Fields. And obviously, this is no surprise, but this offseason has been about one thing and one thing only for Justin Fields and Darnell Mooney, and that has been working nonstop in order to help the Chicago Bears offense take the next level and actually create identity for themselves, but to also make themselves better. So that's obviously no surprise. And Darnell Mooney actually stated in an interview with the Gaston Times that him and Justin Fields work out together almost every week. We continuously work non-stop. And yes, I'm going to repeat this until I'm blue in the face to you guys. I understand this is no surprise. Of course, we expect Justin Fields and his now number one wide receiver for the Chicago Bears football team to grind out this offseason and work hard non-stop this offseason to get better. But it's still really nice to see that they're trying to build on that connection that was so good last year in Justin Fields' rookie year. And obviously, when you look at the Chicago Bears wide receiver room, especially when you consider Allen Robinson left in free agency, Darnell Mooney is now the Bears' number one receiver, and Justin Fields will be depending on Darnell Mooney to make plays for him in this offseason. So obviously, after Darnell Mooney, right, you have Byron Pringle, Velus Jones, all guys that could possibly step up, especially in this new Luke Getsy offense, right? But when you kind of just zero in on Darnell Mooney, all Bears fans, including myself, are expecting him to build off a pretty good season last year for Darnell Mooney and take his game to the next level in order to help Justin Fields take that next step as the Chicago Bears starting quarterback. And I know there has been a lot of talk, like going back and forth on this podcast. When you look all over social media, there's been a lot of back and forth debating about if Darnell Mooney can actually be a number one wide receiver in the NFL. Obviously, I feel like he can, but Darnell Mooney states that he's ready for that challenge that comes with that number one receiver label. He added in an interview that I'm ready for whatever anybody brings to me. I'm ready for any task, any type of defense that we're seeing, whatever it is, any way I can help the team. He also mentioned in that interview with the Gaston Times that he would even be willing to be a decoy to help his other players get open as well, right? So he's going to be that ultimate team player. He understands that since he is the number one wide receiver, he's going to be going against the best every single week. He may see some double teams, so he is ready for that task and ready to step up for his football team and for his teammates, right? And much like Justin Fields, it's great to hear that Darnell Mooney is grinding this offseason and has a great work ethic, because like I just mentioned about Justin Fields in many podcast episodes about his work ethic and how that's going to make him great. Usually when players have that constant work ethic, that constant grind, and I know a lot of NFL players do have that constant work ethic and constant grind, right? But it's really nice to see, because that's what makes players great. When you work nonstop, when you work continuously, to get better, and it becomes an addiction. That's what you like to see. Obviously, the Bears are putting a lot on Darnell Mooney's shoulders, right? This is going to be the first time where he is the number one wide receiver probably since college, back when he was playing at Tulane. So this is a big responsibility for him, but he's taking it. He's taking it all in, and he is ready to step up for the Chicago Bears. So it's really nice to see. And when you look at Justin Fields and Darnell Mooney, I truly feel that the Bears have something special. And we saw what it could be last season. Obviously, Darnell Mooney went for over 1,000 yards. Him and Justin Fields had a great connection. And I think that's why Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears feel so confident in Darnell Mooney being the number one wide receiver. And that's exactly why I feel confident about Darnell Mooney being the number one wide receiver. I think he has a lot of confidence in himself. Justin Fields has a lot of confidence in him. And sometimes that's all it takes, is that confidence in one another to go out there on Sundays and get the job done. And something that I want you guys to put in perspective and really think about as we're talking about this on this podcast, and as they continue to develop as players and grow that connection with each other, I truly feel like it would be a beautiful sight to see. Like I just mentioned in the podcast a couple of minutes ago, they built that connection last year. We got a little sample size of it, and I think all of us as Bears fans, including myself, are craving more. And I think we all realize that Darnell Mooney does have the potential to be a number one wide receiver in the NFL. And as long as he continues to grind and continues that work ethic, I think he will be all right. So overall, Fields and Mooney both have to elevate their games in order for the Bears to exceed expectations, which the expectations for the Chicago Bears is a 3-win football team. So if Darnell Mooney and Justin Fields both elevate their game, right, I think this is probably at least a 7 to 8 win football team, maybe even 9 wins for the Chicago Bears. And that's just saying if Darnell Mooney and Justin Fields elevate their game. You're not even considering Cole Kmet, Byron Pringle, Velus Jones, David Montgomery. If all those guys elevate their games, which it's definitely a possibility, this could be a pretty decent Chicago Bears football team. And this is an offense, especially when you're considering just looking at Justin Fields and Darnell Mooney, going in this new Luke Getsy scheme. I think it's going to help a lot of players on this football team, including Darnell Mooney. So if they elevate their game under this new Luke Getsy scheme, there can be a lot of fireworks this fall at Soldier Field. And I am super pumped to see what happens this season for the Chicago Bears offense, especially when you're looking at Justin Fields and Darnell Mooney. So let me ask you guys this, Bears fans, before I let you guys go. Are you guys excited to see this duo play this year? And I'm talking about Darnell Mooney and Justin Fields, because I know I am, but I wanted to ask you if you guys are excited to see Darnell Mooney and Justin Fields play this season. But before I let you guys go, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Kick on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, I'll be back for all new Bears podcasts right here on Kick on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic.